On the dot, and we will go ahead and start. So I'm calling the regular meeting of May 25th, 2022 to order. And let's see, we'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you will join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, can we start with a roll call, please?
Councilmember Lemon?
Here.
Councilmember Ackerman?
Present.
Councilmember Fatula?
Here.
Mayor Burris?
Present.
And Mayor Pro Tem Mendoza is not here.
All right, thank you. Can we go ahead and move to approval of the agenda order? I'm not aware of any changes to the agenda this evening.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fatula?
Aye.
Councilmember Ackerman?
Aye.
Councilmember Lemon?
Aye.
Mayor Burris?
Aye. All right. So we're going to move to item 3, consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are considered non-controversial and will be moved upon in one blanket motion. Any item can be pulled by the public or a member of the council for discussion. Would anybody like to pull any items from the consent calendar? Anyone in the public? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fatula?
Aye.
Councilmember Lemon?
Aye.
Councilmember Ackerman?
Aye.
Mayor Burris?
Aye. All right, moving to item 4, agency reports. We'll start with 4A, Placer County Sheriff's Department. We do not have them tonight. All right. We don't have CHP either, it seems. So we will move to Cal Fire / Placer Fire.
Can we get a note off to CHP because they haven't been here for quite a while, just to remind them?
I talked to Chris Nabe yesterday. This is the last baseball game conflict that he has, and he will be at the next meeting.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, well, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Brian Estes, I'm the County Fire Chief. Thank you for letting me spend just a couple minutes tonight before I turn it over to Chief Loveless for the normal department reports, but I'm hoping that you will allow me to read an announcement that I made to the 411 people under my command here about an hour ago. I'm pleased to announce the promotion of Nolan Hale to Battalion Chief in the Nevada-Yuba Placer Unit. Chief Hale will be overseeing the Training and EMS Bureau for Nevada-Yuba Placer and the Placer County Fire Department. Chief Hale will be effective on May 30th, 2022. Chief Hale began his career in 2005 as a firefighter 1 right here in the Nevada-Yuba Placer Unit. He worked in multiple station assignments before his promotion to fire apparatus engineer in the Butte Unit, Butte County Fire Department in 2009. In 2014, Nolan transferred to the Tehama Glen Unit, where he was assigned to both state and cooperative fire agreement fire stations. In 2016, Chief Hale promoted to fire captain and came back home to the Nevada-Yuba Placer Unit, accepting the challenging assignment of working in our Grass Valley Emergency Command Center. In 2018, Nolan transferred right here to Battalion 13, where besides being one of our senior captains in the battalion, he was assigned at Station 30, he was also assigned to the cooperative agreement here with the city of Colfax and became very integral with our volunteer firefighters and ultimately the transition of the Colfax City Volunteer Fire Department into the Placer County Fire Department last year. His commitment to the citizens of Colfax and the surrounding areas have been without reserve. Nolan is a member of the Placer County Fire Department Technical Rescue Team, the CAL FIRE S212 Filing Cadre, our Apparatus Standards Committee, and last year was selected as an Operations Branch Director on CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. Nolan is a fully qualified Division Group Supervisor, Strike Team Leader, and holds an associate degree in Fire Sciences. Please help me congratulate Chief Nolan Hale on his promotion to Battalion Chief and welcome him to this new and challenging assignment. So I just, as the fire chief, this is one of the things that I enjoy most is when I'm able to see kind of the fruits of our labor and to see young men and women who promote through our ranks and ultimately become the future leaders of our department. And I tease Nolan sometimes because I'm not a local person here. I wasn't born and raised here. And so anytime you're a fire chief and you come into a new unit, you're going to be met with some resistance, right? Kind of the old, this is the way we do it here, chief. And so at that time, Captain Hale was working in our command center, one of the leaders up there, very busy environment. And when I first met Nolan, he and his partner, Scott Ekman, who's our deputy fire marshal in Nevada County, we had some really, I would say, some good, honest, spirited discussions about the way business is done here in the Nevada Yuba Placer unit. And I knew right from that point that Nolan Hale had no problem with standing firm on his convictions, standing firm on the historical value of our unit, our commitment to our local governments here across the region. And what I saw was him, at a point decide that he really wanted to be part of the team. He really wanted to be part of the movement forward in his career and the benefit to both his coworkers and the constituents here. And his time here in Battalion 13 in the city of Colfax has obviously been a really important part of his career. He's done an outstanding job, and I'm just very, very proud to be able to promote him to battalion chief. And while he'll be assigned down at Auburn headquarters, he will be a familiar face up here along the corridor, and I'm sure he'll be itching to try to get back up here whenever he can. So congratulations, Nolan, and thank you for the time. At this point, I'll just turn it back over to Chief Lovelace.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Chief Hale. That's awesome. Well deserved.
Always good news.
So, Madam Mayor, City Council, City Manager, Jeff Lovelace, Battalion Chief, Cal Fire, Placer County Fire Department. As I always kind of start out, I give an update of really where we're at on our fuels and our fire weather, which is one of the bigger threats to this community. With the increased temperature and the wind, it did dry out our fuels quite a bit, and we are significantly above where we were on that average level. So if we have average here and then our max, we're getting close, and that's why some of the decisions were made to declare fire season a start, and then suspend some of the burning in regards to residential and our burn piles. So that started on the 23rd, which was Monday. So all of those are suspended as we continue going through. The call volume has pretty much sustained. We're kind of on average where we're at, although we have had an increase on our escape burn piles, mowing and dry grass, those kind of causes on the wildland. Defensible space is still one of the key things as we approach this season. So I please just ask everybody that still is in effect, please minimize some of that fuels around the house to make it better and more capable to sustain any fire as it is. So really the safety message, and I kind of make it short today, but the safety message is just that ready, set, go, which is kind of that CAL FIRE stable on just preparing your house, making sure you have a plan, and then if the evacuation does occur, execute that plan and continue. That's it, unless there's any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I had a question. Chief, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. What's the status with Brush 37? I heard it went out of service for possibly maintenance or maintenance.
So there is significant,
Do we have a repair plan for that?
So there is significant issues with it that did put it out of service, including leaking oil from not only the transmission, radiator, and the motor itself. There's several other to the brakes to make it compliant to actually be able to follow DOT policies. So we did create a list. We had our mechanics take a look, and currently right now they're pricing each one to see where we're at and see if it's to make the decision if we're going to continue putting that thing in service or have a different plan for it.
So assuming that does go out of service, and even with the fact that we've now declared fire season, what's the contingency plan to make sure we're not short?
So we do have several engines, and this is the brush engine from Company 36. So if there is, we still have other engines, including the and Station 30. So that isn't going anywhere. Those will always be there. Even if they leave on strike teams, they're still going to have equipment there. So that's not there. So it's going to be more associated with some of the volunteers that jump into those pieces of equipment to respond on
of these wildland fires. So we'll have to take a look again and see the decision we make and bringing it to the council. Is this going to be, or to our mechanics to see which direction we're going to go.
Okay. Do you think that will be feasible by the next meeting?
To have an answer for you?
Yeah.
I will, yes, I'll have an answer for you on the direction that, and the cost and for that equipment to get repaired.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
Right here.
All right, nonprofits. Do we have any nonprofits that'd like to speak this evening? I apologize, that cell phone rudely going off is mine. Go ahead.
Pardon? Oh, sorry. Madam Mayor, City Council members, Tim Ryan with the Colfax Chamber of Commerce. And just want to let everybody know, tomorrow evening, we do have a mixer at Applegate Civic Center. It will be from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. and that is in Applegate. So we're pretty fortunate having one out of our area. So that's the first thing going on. And the chamber is working with the city, supporting and promoting for a job and career fair. And that's going to be happening Tuesday, June 7th from 12 to 4 p.m. And I'm not sure if Trina will have more to talk about that. We are working with the city also on a directional sign for the Chamber of Commerce, the Visitor Center, and the Heritage Museum. And that will be a new sign being put up on Grass Valley Street. We're pretty happy to say that within the last couple of months, we have added more businesses to the Chamber of Commerce. And so things have really gotten an uptick after going through such hard times, and very happy. And these businesses, they do have their pamphlets and business cards at our depot, and going online and going on our website, you can just see who they are for any of your needs. I personally just had to have a windshield replaced, and we have a new business there, came right out, replaced the windshield. He was excellent. So we do have a lot of good new businesses joining. We're also working with the city on a redevelopment plan. We're with a Zoom meeting today, and so that will be continuing. We will be getting more information from that we're going to be able to, and I say that we're the Chamber of Commerce, to relay to our businesses and give them a good idea, another venue to let them know of what is being planned. And then I also want to thank Battalion Chief Jeff Lovelace for a presentation at our coffee and conversation at the beginning of the month. It was a very excellent, informal talk. He had many questions, and we all need, after listening to him, just to thank. We are so fortunate for our fire crews that are here helping us and believe saving homes. So what we say is, hey, when you get a chance to just thank them. So we're very, very fortunate with that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize, I will not be able to make it to the mixer tomorrow.
Trinity, you got your introduction all set for you.
Sorry, I have to do the elementary school graduation.
Madam Mayor and City Council members, I'm Justin Farwell from the Sierra Vista Community Center. I just wanted to make a quick shout out about some new events or regular events. Here's how to contact us. We have the farmers market that just started today. It's 4 to 7 every Wednesday until October. So for all the hot months, we have a farmers market now, Wednesdays 4 to 7. Our regular events are first Sunday bingo, second Saturday flea market, and there's one I'm just forgetting, and also we have a new trial event that we're trying out, which is karaoke on the next one will be Saturday, June 11th from 6 to 9. It's a full bar and full karaoke power. So please come on out and check it out. And if you need to contact the Sierra Vista Community Center, you can look up our number online. You can contact the Facebook page, or you can reach out to myself, Justin Farwell, on Facebook. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Justin.
I'm having a brain frog. Trinity, when do we have our breakfasts, on Saturday or Sunday?
It's the second Sunday.
Okay, thank you. I just something went.
You almost tripped me up right there.
I know. Our art walks and cruises are on the third Friday. Oh, Foxy McClary. Colfax. Okay. The cruises are the third Fridays of each month from 4 to 8, but sometimes some of the artists leave at 7 and the cars leave at 7. I'll warn you guys, so be early. Every third Friday through September, including September, and the VFW breakfasts we already announced. And the Legion also does a dinner every third Thursday from 5:30 on. And so don't miss those either. But the other thing is if there are any young veterans out there post 2003 would love to help you out, please join us. Our meetings are the first Tuesday of the month from 6 o'clock up at the Veterans Hall. Go straight up this green street, okay? So please come to our meetings because we really want to help you and we need help keeping open too. We've lost a few members from, they die after they get older and die. But anyway, we really need your help, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Foxy. Do we have any other nonprofits here this evening? All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and move forward. We do not have any presentations tonight or any public hearings, so we will move to public comment, item 7. This is the time for comments on items that are not on the agenda, and you will have 3 minutes. Do we have any public comment at this time? Come on up.
I'm Jan Swift from the Colfax Garden Club and the Colfax Lions. And I have 2 things to talk about. One is I want to thank you all for hiring Martin Jones and his 2 fellows that he hired. I was here 2 or 3 years ago in tears, begging for that very thing to happen. So I'm very grateful. He's a wonderful guy. Stand up. And what he's done downtown is just wonderful. It's just happened so fast, and I'm so grateful. The other thing I have to talk about is not quite so nice. I don't want people smoking in front of the caboose during our events. I put that bench there for moms to sit on while their children are in the caboose during these events. They come out and there's this cloud of smoke you wouldn't believe. I couldn't even sit at our Lions booth last year. It was right there in the disabled parking space because it was bombed with cigarette smoke. Mm-hmm. All these little children have to walk through that smoke, past the people who should be sitting on the other side of the street in front of the bar, in front of the smoke shop.
Well, really, they shouldn't be sitting there either.
They shouldn't be on Main Street at all, but they certainly should not be in front of the only kid attraction we have on Main Street. So let's do something about that. There's many other places we can move the smokers. They can go behind the freight building. They can go to the benches along the railroad tracks. They don't have to be right there in front of the caboose.
Could we set up a time to speak with the Lions Club where we can try to designate a designated smoking area for the events? Because we actually wrote in our non-smoking ordinance, you are not allowed to smoke downtown with the exception of designated areas. So the ordinance is on file. It is enforceable. There are repercussions for, essentially the disrespect of, I have the same issue, taking my kids down to the art walk last week where we were walking through a cloud of smoke because we had people on the sidewalk out there smoking, trying to enjoy the event, but not being considerate of other people. So maybe what we need to do is sit down, have a meeting and come up with what would be a good spot and then rope it off. Yeah. So people know this is where it's okay. We're not trying to say you're not welcome. Right. That's not the case. It's just we've got a lot of families and nobody wants to be breathing that.
No. And one mom actually came out of the caboose and said it was full of cigarette smoke. So think about that. Yeah. I mean, you got 10 people under that little canopy smoking up a storm. And it's only events that I'm concerned about.
Mhm.
The rest of the time, the bench is first come, first served. But during the events,
Thank you very much. Thank you. Do you have any other public comment? Come on up.
Good evening. Thank you very much. I just wanted to bring to the council's attention that the other day I had a customer come in that was had a prescription from their primary care physician, and it had a product on there, a specific product, and it had 2 refills on there. So the patient was in the store asking about other products, so I had to contact the doctor, and they weren't available, but I talked to the person in charge, and they said that I could generally give them pretty much any product. It didn't matter what was written on the prescription. And the point I'm trying to get to is she probably paid, I don't know how much for the visit to get a prescription for a product that anybody can buy as an adult without a prescription, same product. It's just a stick that you rub on yourself. And the fact that the doctor is going to require her to come back and get a refill after she uses 3 sticks. So I just want you to be aware of the whole picture of not just our store, but the whole pharmaceutical, aspect of it. And it just wasn't meant to be for the doctors to make a bunch of money and the product to be really cheap, because eventually it'll probably be coming from the same organizations as far as I can tell. But you guys need to look at it as not as much as the type of business, but just the type of customer. And by all means, I couldn't treat that person as a medical customer with the prescription. I don't get those. They get recommendations. Nobody writes a prescription. And it was nice to have a doctor come forth and be like the one that's going to do it and risk themselves. But on the other side, how much money is he going to charge this person every 90 days to come get a stick of cannabis to rub on their, sore spots? So the adult use is a market that I think Colfax could use, and so could your constituents. So I'm just asking maybe if we could have another discussion about it and bring the church back and bring whoever wants to, get involved and have a more less everybody discussion and just a one-on-one with, more of one person speaking to the audience rather than, 3 minutes that isn't really enough time to explain everything that I'd like to get.
Would you like to see if you can schedule a presentation?
Sure.
A presentation on the agenda for animal practice meetings, safety.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Do we have any online?
There's nothing online.
Okay, well, seeing none, we will go and move to council and staff reports. We will begin with item 8A, committee reports, starting with Councilmember Lohman.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Councilmember Fatula?
I just had a question on a side item. We still have no parking signs up on Main Street from 4 to 8 p.m. Is that leftover from the art book?
I would assume so, yes. We'll make sure those come down tomorrow.
All right, because I had a couple people ask me about them.
Those actually on West Valley?
No, Main Street.
On Main Street?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Thank you. We'll take care of it. Thank you, Joe.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
That's it? Okay. Councilmember Ackerman?
Nothing to report.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's see here. So,
That's all.
Sorry, that tripped me up for a second there. So as far as committee reports, I don't have anything substantive to report for tonight, specific to any committees. I will say that our cap to cap trip I felt was very productive. We I've had several follow-ups as a result of that, which was a stark contrast to the last trip we went on where I think it was very well compared to speed dating with the way that these meetings are kind of ran, where they sort of appease you for a few minutes and they're like, nice to see you, we're never going to talk to you again. And luckily, I just want to say that's not how it went this time. And we had people who were very, very engaged, happy to collaborate with us and really solution oriented and wanted to follow up and take action. So, we had meetings with the EPA, with the U.S. Forest Service, with the House Committee on Climate Crisis, and several others. And it really is sort of a marathon of meetings, but luckily the quality and content of the meetings was great. And we even had one of the legislative directors for one of the congressmen we met with. He actually is a Colfax High School graduate. And that was interesting because most of the meetings I'm expecting people to say, oh, where's Colfax? And so that was definitely really nice to have that connection, especially because it was a congressman from outside of our area. But all in all, I felt like it was a really, really good trip. We made a lot of headway as far as getting people's attention on the right issues. And there is further follow-up that's happening in the background. Hopefully, as we see substantive action come from that, we'll have more to come back with. And then I just wanted to say that we've sort of had this mysterious secret we've all been sitting on for months and months and months, and it's been killing me to keep my trap shut. But we had a national company, Tin Cup Whiskey, who did an adventure scavenger hunt, and you had to follow the clues that they had online for several months. And they hid one of the golden cups with a $10,000 prize here in Colfax. Yep, it is that. Yep. And so we had people that drove here over 9 hours, plus some people that came from all different states, trying to find this golden cup. And we were all held under NDA, so we weren't able to talk about it or advertise it, unfortunately. But it was pretty successful, and it was really cool for them to have picked Colfax to participate. So, putting us on the map a little bit. I think that is my primary report, so I'll move over to you, Wes.
Cal Fire's back there going to say, why didn't you hook me up?
That's why they make us sign contracts.
All right. So, Madam Mayor, a couple items I wanted to update tonight. I just wanted to give the council an update on the Downtown Sustainable Grant. As the president alluded to, we are currently reviewing the RFP submittals that we received from 5 firms. Mm-hmm. We're hoping to have a selection by the end of the month, in the month of June, and then we'll be able to move forward with the internal process of actually going out and evaluating the areas to come up with some conceptual stuff to bring forward for council and the general public to consider into this next year. So that process, once we get to there, will probably take us into early next year. Okay. So that way we make sure that we have an effective outreach with all the community to make sure that we're designing this process. And I really want to thank the chamber for taking this on. I know when I handed that REMA paper to you guys, you looked at it and kind of thought it was a little overwhelming, but I think it's very important that the chamber participates in this process. So. The other one, I got unofficially told last night by Placer OES that our application for the home hardening and the backup generator has moved from the Cal OES application review to the FEMA review. I was surprised because we received no comments back, no information requests, no changes in our application, and it passed through without any objection at this point. For those of you that don't know, that's a $6.8 million grant. It's for home hardening, defensible space management, and backup power generation. The home hardening and defensible space is for the residents. There is no income threshold. This is if you're in the city limits that you would qualify for this program on there. So, Madam Mayor, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Do you mind emphasizing how incredibly rare it is to not receive comments back and to pass the first phase of review on anything ever in government?
It's very true, and especially from Cal OES and FEMA.
Yeah.
It's unheard of. So we did a great job, and I really thank Lori for all of her efforts, my efforts into it, and quite frankly, the Cal OES grant coordinator that we worked with, the consultant. It was absolutely wonderful. And the Cal Fire team that put their efforts in to put their contributions into the application as well, too. It was great.
Well, thank you all so much. I can't begin to say how impressed I am right now.
Wes, do we have any updates on the one for the roads?
Yes, that's been an interesting discussion. I am now at the assistant deputy director, and I'm finally getting clear communication as where we're at. The last communication I had yesterday, they said that they're still funding down the list. They're hopeful that they'll be able to get enough funding for Colfax's project. We're fourth down the list this cycle. If not, they're talking about not issuing out the NOFA for the 2023 cycle and continue to fund down the list. The hope is they fund our current project, and staff would like to bring forward another project for 2023 that will be ready the day the application opens up to include South Auburn and South Canyon ways to completely reconstruct those roads at this point. So staff we're being diligent, we're staying on top of it. But other than pushing as much as I can, that's as best I can do with them at this point.
And to clarify for the public, this is the $3 million grant that we pursued through CBDG back in 2019-2020 fiscal year for the purpose of repaving and reconstructing roads in the downtown area. And there's quite a laundry list. So this has been something that's been in the hopper for quite a while, and the feds have really been pushing us off. And as I alluded to earlier today in a conversation with some folks about this, if we don't go all crazy ex-girlfriend and, batty on these people, we don't get anywhere. And so Wes is very diligent about bird dogging, and we're again thankful to have such a diligent staff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right. Well, with that being said, we will move into item 9, council business. This is for the November 8th, 2022 election, and I will have Wes go ahead and talk about this some more.
Madam Mayor, I think our city attorney is going to cover this item tonight, and we do have SEI consultant here as well to answer any of the follow-up outreach questions associated with it should council elect to move this item forward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Am I on? Okay, I'm on. There are two parts to what's before the council tonight. One part is routine, the other part is not so routine. So I'll start with the routine first. November 8th is election day. It's a regularly scheduled city election where the officers of the council are to be elected. For Trinity, Joe, and Sean, I can't believe you've been here almost 4 years. But those three officers are up for election. So the routine part of what's before the council calls the election, asks for the services of the county clerk in processing the election, asks that the election be consolidated with the statewide general election, and names the three of you as the officers to be elected for full term. This is done every other year. It's something you have to do. I think theoretically you can handle the elections yourself, but you don't have the staff or the expertise. The county is very good at it. They're really diligent, and there's no reason for the city to take it on other than that. So that's the routine part of this. To get that part of the resolution passed, we need a majority of the council to vote. So that would be 3 votes tonight in support of. The not so routine part is the change to the transient occupancy tax. And I want to start with a brief explanation or just a comment. The transient occupancy tax is not a tax on everybody in Colfax. It is a tax that is charged to people who rent hotel rooms, essentially. There is already a transient occupancy tax on the books. It's 8% currently. That seems to be low in comparison to what you see statewide. Staff is recommending that the council authorize an increase to 10%. The second part of this is the staff is also recommending the council consider expanding the scope of the transient occupancy tax to take into account online brokers, anyone who receives consideration for renting rooms to transients. And transient has a a specific legal meaning. Is someone who rents a room for sleeping purposes for 30 days or less. And it gets really interesting. I don't want to get into the tall grass here, but if you rent for more than 30 days, you're technically a tenant. You have tenant rights and such as that. This applies only to people who are here renting rooms on a temporary basis. This is a general tax, which means that it has to be approved in order for it to be effective. It has to be approved by a majority of the voters. The court in the law, though, requires 4 votes of the council to get the tax on the ballot itself. So we have kind of a dichotomy here. We need 4 votes of the council, unanimous tonight, to get the ballot measure before the public, and then it takes a majority vote of the public to pass it. This is done by resolution. The resolution proposes that the voters approve an ordinance. Typically, when we do an ordinance, we do a first read, a second read, public hearing. None of that is required when you submit an ordinance to the public for popular vote. So those are my comments. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yes, I just wanted to do a point of clarification on the first and more routine item. You made a comment about officers to be elected. I just wanted to clarify to the public, that means that it's our seats that are up for election. It is not naming us 3 as candidates for that office. That is a separate process we each have to go through, where you have to have public nominations, file paperwork. There's quite a bit to it. So it's not an automatic recycle of the council members you already have.
Yeah, so if you read that, read the seat of that person, not that person.
Exactly.
Right.
So that will be coming up in November and all that. And so and the filing period for that is, what are our dates? Are we in alignment with the county?
You're in alignment with the county.
Okay, so it's July to August.
Yes, the county will produce a schedule that you will stick with.
So anybody who's listening to this tonight with the intention of potentially running, just so that you know, your filing period to get your name on the ballot is July to August. So, be sure to come in and talk to our city clerk. Yeah. And then as a point of clarification on the second item, the transient occupancy tax, again, Mick did state that 10% is sort of the statewide standard. This is an item that specifically goes to people who are not Colfax residents, who do not live here, who, again, are traveling, visiting, using your infrastructure, your roadways, the things that you as a resident have paid for. And this is charging their fair share for the use of those facilities, such as your roads, for example, so that we can perform future maintenance. So when we get the CBDG funding, when we go through, we fix these roads, we have money to continue the maintenance so we don't fall back into the same disrepair that we've already been in and found ourselves in. So at this point, I will move over to council. Do we have comments, questions from council?
Yeah, so so just a couple of things just to make sure people understand it. So currently, if you stay in one of the hotels, as an example in Colfax, you pay an 8% tax on top of your rent or on top of your room rate, right? That's the TOT tax. This would raise that tax by about 2%, right? It would bring in about $30,000 roughly a year for Colfax.
That's
correct. So it's not a huge difference, but virtually all of that money comes from people traveling through the area, not from the residents. If somebody was renting a room, renting a house, renting a granny house that's on the same property, anything that's over 30 days is under a lease agreement, a rental agreement, that's not subject to the TOT tax. So for people that are staying 30 days or longer, this has no effect on you. Okay, so that's kind of where it's at.
That's correct.
And part of the focus on this, and this is kind of why we brought up when we had the winter storms here and all, we get a lot of road use on very specific roads in the town because of where they're located and because of the traffic that goes through there. The other area that I think is an opportunity for us to look at is like drive-up window tax. As we have like Starbucks and McDonald's drive a heavy amount of traffic into the city on those roads there, way more than any other business in the town, right? So the question is, we just want to get to a fair use of when people are using the town, right? So.
Any other council comments, discussion? Okay, do we have any public comments on the matter? Online or in person?
There's nothing online.
All right, I will bring it back to the council to move the item.
So is this 2 votes we need?
No, single motion.
Single
We
motion?
can do it under single, or if you want to break it out due to a dispute, we can do that. But
I think it might be better as 2 motions. One is the motion for the seats in the elections.
Okay.
Right? So
I know that breaks it into 2 resolutions.
I'll move that one with that piece of it as a motion to carry that forward.
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Fatula?
Aye.
Councilmember Lohman?
Aye.
Councilmember Ackerman?
Aye.
And Mayor Burris?
Aye. All right,
Okay, and then the second motion is on the TOT tax, increasing it from 8% to 10% and broadening definition to include all of the hotel-like providers.
so specifically the motion is then to request the services from Placer County
Alexis,
and notice the
put it on.
submission of measures to the voters increasing and expanding the transient occupancy tax.
Yep.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fatula?
Aye.
Councilmember Lohman?
Aye.
Councilmember Ackerman?
Aye.
And Mayor Burris?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. We will now move to go to the order. Sean, do you have anything?
Tomorrow night is here at City Hall at 6 p.m. Placer Sierra Fire Safe Council meeting. We've been getting a good crowd, got lots of good information going out, and hopefully we'll see some more people there. That's all I had.
Thank you. Joe?
Just a couple pieces of update. So I just reviewed our draft chicken ordinance permit, right? So I got a few minor changes on there. So that's back in Wes's hands. I've got a couple of the guys that have lumber mills up in Alta who are volunteering to cut the lumber for making the chicken coops for people that are retired or people that are on low income. I don't know how much wood we'll get, but as the one guy said, there's almost an infinite amount of trees up there that are down from the fires. And once you cut the outer part of the tree off, the inside is still good lumber. So we have a potential to do a lot. And I've got a group of about 6 or 8 guys right now who are willing to spend a couple weekends to pre-cut the lumber so it'll be kitted. I was talking to Seattle First Baptist Church up in Alta. They're willing to do it as kind of like an outreach project to stock the stuff up there. Now, none of this is all locked down in writing yet, but that's kind of what I'm trying to do over the next month or so. Try to get all that in place just to try to help out. I figure with inflation going up and gas prices going up and all, what can we do to help the residents of Colfax? And if you think about it, this is something that could potentially provide a good food source to the residents of Colfax at a cost of, other than the cost of the chicken housing unit, coop and stuff and all, at a cost of very little because it's going to eat all of the scrap food waste, right? And you figure there's about 760 pounds of food waste for a family of 4. 8 chickens consume about 750 pounds of food waste per year. It's about balance. So it should be a really good economical thing of what we can do to help people in light of all the inflation and stuff going on. So anyhow.
David, do you have anything?
Nothing at this time.
All right. So I just wanted to bring up one more time the job fair that we have several parts of Placer County that will be attending and advertising jobs. We have the city of Colfax who will have jobs that we're advertising about. We do have PCWA. We have Caltrans. Caltrans is actually going to bring computers and walk people through exams and the application process, and they will take you the whole 9 yards to streamline the hiring. And then we do have several local businesses as well. So if you know anybody who has a business or anybody who's seeking work, I don't care if you already have a job or you already have plenty of employees. This is one of those times it's okay to window shop. And so come on down and, let's see how many people we can get involved. And if this works out really well, hopefully we can make it an annual thing It's good timing with the high school getting out and trying to get people into, worthwhile careers and seeing that there are really awesome options and opportunity out there. And especially right now in the job market, there's so much opportunity. So really excited about that. And just so that you all know, we did intentionally schedule it for voting day. So you can go down, you can vote, come look for jobs or come advertise jobs. And then you can go over down to Main Street to any one of our restaurants and, take advantage of Taco Tuesday and Dollar Scoop Tuesday and all that fun stuff. So it should be a fun day. But that, I believe, is all that I had. And Wes, did you have anything? Oh, do we have a late public comment? Oh, let's take it.
I believe this is in reference to the poultry ordinance. Colin McSorley on Facebook says, what about the amount of manure that is made?
What about the what?
The amount of manure that's made.
Makes great compost.
Yeah.
Wes, did you have anything for good of the order?
Madam Mayor, I don't, but I really do appreciate you leading the charge for this recruitment. I know many organizations are struggling to get employees and stuff, and welcome everybody to participate in this as well, too.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, well, if no one has anything else, I will go ahead and adjourn. Thank you.